It has started. Live has begun. As y'all coming in, shout yourselves out in the comment section. Tell me names and locations. Just tell me your name and location. We're going to get into everything that we need to get into as usual. If you don't know my style, what I do here, you will know. You're going to learn today. As y'all coming in, tell me your name and location as y'all coming into the room. I'm live on my Facebook. It's Facebook.com/work on your game. Also, we are simulcasting this to my Facebook group called Six Figures and Growing. Also, we are live on Instagram. That is Instagram.com/Dre Baldwin is my Instagram. As y'all coming in, shout yourselves out. Tell me your name and location in the comment section. We're going to get into it in 1 second. Hope everybody's having a good week, a good month, a good day, whatever week, month, or day it happens to be for you, because I know a lot of people watch these on replay when I put them up later on IG, Facebook, or what's the other website? YouTube. So hope y'all having a good day. Everybody's doing what you need to be doing, and I'm going to help you do it better. That's what we're going to do here in this live. So for those of you who are not familiar with me, let me introduce myself real quick. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day. I'm a former 9-year pro athlete. I'm the author of 33 books. I've done 4 TEDx talks on mindset, on career, on business, on making it happen. And I created this whole branding platform called Work on Your Game. What's going on, everybody over there on Facebook? You can shout yourselves out too. I created this whole platform called Work on Your Game. It's all about taking the mental tools and the strategies to help athletes get to the top of their game, and I help professionals do this to help you perform at a higher level, be more consistent, and make more money. Ray checking in from Montreal. Shout out to Montreal. Shout out to Canada. And here's what we're going to talk about today. Y'all see the title: why you should charge and pay more money for anything that you are involved in. So whether if you're selling something, you should charge more money. You should raise your prices. And if you are buying things, you should spend more money. You should invest more in the things that you buy. I'm going to explain to you why this makes sense. So everybody who is in here, I guarantee you, everybody who's in here there are 2 things I'm going to assume. And if I'm wrong about these, then I'll just be wrong. All right. The 2 things I'm going to assume: that everybody who's in here, no matter how much money you make right now, you want to make more money. All right. I work with people who are making $40,000 a year. They want to make more money. I work with people who are making, add a zero to that, $400,000 and more dollars per year, millions of dollars per year. They want to make more money. So every person, no matter how much money they're making, they want to make more money. I've rarely worked with, actually not rarely, I've never worked with, nobody's ever joined Work on Your Game University because they want to make the same amount of money. All right, everybody wants to make more money. And secondly, all of you probably want to get more bang for your buck. In other words, when you spend money on something, you want to get more out of that dollar than what you invested. You want to get more back than what you put in. So you want to get a higher return on investment for anything that you spend. So when you go buy some food, you want that food to be really good. You want to buy good food. You spend $10 on a meal, you want the $10 meal to be worth $20. You spend $20, you want it to be worth $40. You spend $40, you want it to be worth $80. Everybody wants to get more bang for their buck when they spend money or invest money, and everybody wants to make more money with everything that they're doing. So I'm going to tell you how you can make this work. So let me tell you a story real quick. So like a month ago, I went to the service department. I went to the Mercedes service department because there was a message coming up on the dashboard of my vehicle that said you need to take this car in for service. There's something wrong with the battery, et cetera, et cetera. So I take it into the service department, and the service department and I've been to a lot of service departments. I've had a lot of different vehicles, and I've been to a lot of service departments, but the Mercedes service department is different than many of the other ones I've ever been to. Any of you ever took your car into service before, or you work in the service department, you know how they normally are. They're like bus stations. They're like the Greyhound bus station. Any of you ever been to a Greyhound bus station? If you have never been to one, keep it that way. And if you have been to one, all right, then you know what it's like. It's dirty, it's dingy. All right, nobody who is there wants to be there, whether that's the riders on the bus or the workers working for the company. Nobody who's in there wants to be there. It feels nasty. You don't want to sit on anything. You don't want to touch anything. You want to get in there and out of there as quickly as possible. But because of the service department, you know it might take a while. All right, that's how most service departments are for vehicles. So I go into a Mercedes service department, and this place is a little bit different. Now, I've been here before, but this is the first time that I actually thought about it enough to talk about it. So here's what happens. First of all, you pull up to the service department, and their service department is situated in the same place as their showroom. So this place is set up pretty nicely because the showroom is where they sell you the car. Service department is where they fix the car. what you'll notice with a lot of car dealers is they kind of, even though the service department might be attached to the showroom, they kind of got it separated into different parts because the service department looks nasty and not nice, whereas the showroom, they want it to look nice and friendly because they're trying to sell you something. But here is all in the same spot. So if you're pulling up to the service, then you pull up the same way as if you were going to buy a car. And they got it. First of all, they have a valet who will valet your vehicle when you pull up. That's number one, that you don't see in most places when you're going to get your car worked on or even to buy a car. Then inside of the service department office, they have is actually clean. It's clean and neat, and is a place where you actually would sit down on the couch because it actually looks like it's been wiped off at some point in the last 6 months. They have a bottled water with their branded logo on it. They give you little snacks and little food, and the people are actually nice. So this is already, just within like 30 seconds, this place is way different than most of the service departments that you have ever been in before. If you've never been there before, go in one, and you will see for yourself. You can just walk in and act like you're doing something, even if you don't have a car. And you'll notice this. The people were actually much nicer. So I sit down with the service department woman, and she says, all right, well, the message on your car was actually accurate. There is something up with the battery. We need to fix the battery. She had seen this problem before. It wasn't the first car that had this issue. She's like, all right, we're going to get it fixed. But, sir, it's going to take about 2 hours. This is what she says to me. It's going to take 2 hours for us to fix the battery in your vehicle. She said, here's what you can do. You got two options. You can either, A, you can stay here and wait 2 hours for us to fix it. Or B, if you want to go home and come back, here's what she says to me. She says, we will send a car to drive you home. And then when the car is fixed and we fix your battery, we will call you and we will send another car to pick you up and bring you back here. I've never seen that done before in the service department. Now, again, depending on what kind of vehicle you're dealing with, maybe if you go to like a BMW or Ferrari, maybe Range Rover, maybe any other vehicle where you're spending where they have because every company sells different price vehicles, right? So depending on where you go, you might get this, but I had not seen this before. And most of the time, hopefully don't have to take my car to the service department at all. But anyway, this is what she offered me. So I said to her, well, I'm not sitting here for 2 hours. I'll go home. So she said, we're going to call you a car. Now I figured they're going to call me an Uber, or they were going to send like one of their workers to drive me home and pick me up. That's not what they did. They called this company called Aldo. I don't know if or is it Alto? I think it's Alto. It's a company called Alto. They're like Uber, but it's not Uber. It's like a higher end Uber. It's like if Uber had, how airplanes got coach and first class, Alto is like the first class version of Uber. So they call these Alto cars, and the Alto is like an SUV. It's the same car every time. So it's not like any random car. It's one car, and it has the temperature control. They got like the shield between the driver and the rider. They got the cords for you to charge your phones and stuff like that. And they send you a text message letting you know the car is coming. It's one driver. They are like uniformed. And it has Alto on the outside of the car because it's one kind of car. So they got this whole fleet of the same SUV. I don't know what this vehicle is, but it's like a mid-sized SUV that they drive. And driver comes and gets me, picks me up, takes me home. 2 hours later, they call me. Mercedes calls me, says, all right, your car is fixed. They drive me. They come send another Alto. This driver drives me back, pick up the car, go home, all of that. I'm telling you all of that story to tell you this because it got me thinking about why can a company like Mercedes, why does a company like Mercedes do something like this? Why would they even make these kind of investments? How can they make these kind of investments? And why all the other cars I've owned in my life, Chevrolets, Nissans, what other kind of cars I had, Volkswagens, why do these companies not do this stuff? Why does Mercedes do it, but these other companies don't do it? Because this is a great experience. It's such a great experience that I'm telling you that there was something wrong with my vehicle. I had taken it to the service department to get fixed. It didn't cost me any money. I didn't make any money. Why would I even want to tell this story? It's a good enough experience that I want to tell the story, and I'm basically helping promote their company. Why doesn't every company do this, knowing that they can probably get this kind of response from their customers and their clients? I'm going to explain to you. Jeff said Honda is still better. LOL. All right, you keep your Honda. All right. So let's get into this. Point number one. Why the topic again today is why you should charge and you should pay more money for your experiences, for your products, for your services. Again, on the buyer side and on the seller side. Okay, so I'm talking about on both ends of this equation why you should do this. Point number one. Why doesn't, let's say a company like Kia. All right, y'all know Kias? So one time I remember I went to a Kia dealership, right? I did not buy a Kia. Nothing wrong with a Kia. If any of you got a Kia, nothing wrong with that. Everybody starts somewhere. I remember I went to a Kia dealership, right? And here's what happened. So we go in the Kia dealership, and we're like, all right, we want to see a vehicle. We want to see what one of your vehicles is. So the sales manager is the person who approached us. He said, all right, I'm going to hook you up with such and such, whoever the sales guy is. They send the sales guy over to us. Sales guy comes over to us, shakes our hands. I introduce myself. I tell him my name. I say, my name is Dre. He tells me his name, whatever his name was. We're like, we want to see such and such car. He's like, all right, well, the cars are upstairs. We'll get an elevator. We'll go up. We'll look at the couple that we got, or they have several. You pick the one that you like. We'll bring it down, and we'll talk about what we need to talk about. We say, all right, cool. Now, mind you, this whole exchange took about 30 seconds. He says, go to the elevator. We get to the elevator. That took about 1 minute. We're in the elevator, right? Now, this guy's trying to small talk inside the elevator. Elevator is only like 3 floors. So we're going from the first floor to the third floor in the elevator. This guy looks at me, and this is big black dude. He's probably about 250 pounds, kind of sloppy. He was kind of sloppy. To be a salesperson, he was not well presented. But anyway, doesn't matter. He looks at me and says, what's your name again, sir? And I say to him, dude, I just told you my name like 90 seconds ago. Literally 90 seconds ago, I just told you my name. You know what this dude says to me? He says, and mind you, it's in the morning. It's like 10 o'clock in the morning. This is what this guy says to me. He says, I'm sorry, I meet a lot of people and talk to a lot of people every day, so I sometimes forget names. And he didn't say it in like a tongue-in-cheek way, like he was trying to be funny. He was saying it in a serious way, like I was supposed to be impressed that this salesperson at the Kia dealership meets a lot of people, and therefore he forgot my name. And I said to him, I didn't say that to him, but I'm thinking to myself, okay, all right, there's no way I'm buying anything from this dude. At that moment, I immediately knew I wasn't buying anything from this guy. But I did want to find out a little bit more about the vehicle. So let's just see where this ends up going. So he had already lost the sale. I already knew that, but let's just finish this situation. So we tell him what car we want to see. So he says, all right, we're going to bring the car outside to the front of the building. And I'm like, well, look, I just want to know, I just want you to run the numbers and give me some numbers on what it would look like to get a car like this. I don't even want to, because he was like, well, take it for a test drive. I'm like, I don't want to test drive a damn Kia. I really don't need to test drive this car. I just want to know what the numbers are. He's like, well, I got to bring it downstairs. This is how we do it. Then I understood he was a frontline, entry-level worker. So I wasn't going to go back and forth with the dude because nothing else he could offer me. So I said, all right, bring the car to the front, whatever, and we'll just take it from there. So we go back down the elevator. He gets the car, and he drives it around to the front of the building. So we get to the front of the building. He pulls the car up. And he's like, all right. He gets out of the driver's seat. He's like, all right, y'all get in the front seats. I'll get in the back seat, and we'll test drive the vehicle. And I'm like, I don't want to test drive the vehicle. I don't need to test drive this vehicle. I just want to know. I just want you to run the numbers. We can go sit in the office. I'll give you my information. You could run the numbers, whatever you got to do. Just tell me how much it would cost. I'm trying to help him. Like, this is faster to get to the sale. He's like, well, we can't. This is what this guy says to me. We are not allowed to give you any numbers unless you test drive the vehicle. You have to test drive the vehicle. He actually told us it's a mandate. You must test drive the vehicle. We are not allowed to sell you a car. We can't give you any numbers, any information, anything unless you test drive the vehicle. This is at the Kia dealership, folks. And I'm saying to him, I don't want to test drive the vehicle. So he's like, well, look, and he kind of goes back and forth with us a little bit. Finally, he says, look, I'll go get my manager. He'll tell you the same thing, but you got to test drive the vehicle. We are not allowed to do anything else. You must test drive the vehicle. And even though I'm telling him, a customer, I'm offering him money, I'm telling him I don't want to test drive the vehicle. He insists that I must test drive the vehicle. So he goes and gets the manager. Now, this big sloppy black dude, he goes to get the manager, who's this clean-cut, well-presented white guy. White guy comes out, and he's like, hey, guys, what's up? And I say, same thing I just told you. I told this dude, I just want to get the numbers on the vehicle. I don't want to test drive the vehicle. I don't even have time to test drive the vehicle. I'm just trying to get some numbers on what it would take to purchase this vehicle or lease it, whatever I want to do with the vehicle. I just didn't want the numbers. And the white guy says, well, our policy is, again, this is what he said. Our policy is you have to test drive the vehicle. We do not give numbers to anyone who does not test drive the vehicle. And I say to him, what does test driving the vehicle have to do with me knowing the numbers of what it would take to purchase the vehicle? Why does it matter? And he just basically stonewalls and reemphasizes the same thing his sales guy said, which is that's just our policy. You have to test drive. There is no negotiation here. And I said, well, I just want to get the numbers. And this is what the white guy says to me. At least he was efficient. This is what he says. He says, well, look, I understand that, sir, but look, sometimes we are not the right company for a customer, and sometimes the customer is not the right person for us. So how about we just part as friends? And he offered to shake my hand and basically kick me out of the Kia dealership. I got kicked out of the Kia dealership because I wouldn't test drive the vehicle. Do y'all believe that? You should believe it because it happened. He said, he said, sometimes you're just not the right customer for us. And he didn't actually kick me out. He didn't tell me to leave, but he shook my hand and he just basically walked away. They would not give me the numbers for the vehicle because I wouldn't test drive the car. Now, do you think Mercedes would do that? Do you think BMW would do that? Would Range Rover do that? Actually, I know for a fact they don't do this. Do you think Porsche would do that? No, none of these companies do that, because I've been to all their dealerships and they will give you the numbers without you test driving the damn car. If you don't want to test drive it, how are they going to make you test drive a vehicle? That makes no sense whatsoever. But this is what Kia did. Now, you think about how much does a Kia cost versus how much these other vehicles cost, and you just think about it. I just want you to theorize in your own mind how that makes any sense, and why does it go that way at one place and it goes a different way at another place. And I'm going to fill in the gaps for you. The reason why, and I can only imagine, if you own a Kia, any of you got a Kia, you tell me, if you ever had to take that car in for service, what their service department is like as opposed to Mercedes service department. I guarantee you it ain't the same experience. Now, why is this? That's the question. That's what we really want to get to here. Why is it that Mercedes service is this way and Kia service is this way? Why is that? The reason is because Mercedes charges more money for their products. Therefore, they have the margin with which they can do nicer stuff for their customers. That's why. If you bring your car in, if you own a Kia, or a man said earlier, a Honda, all right, you got a Honda, you bring it into the service department, and they tell you it's going to take 2 hours to fix the car, I guarantee you they ain't offering to send you a car to go take you home and bring you back when it's done. That ain't happening. All right, they're going to tell you, you go sit your ass in that lobby, and when it's ready, we'll let you know. All right, and if it takes 4 hours, even though we quoted you 2 hours, so what? What you going to do? All right, we got your car. All right, where you going to go? You ain't got no car. You can't go nowhere. Or they say you go home if you want to, but we'll call you, and however you get home and however you get back is up to you. All right, that's what they're going to tell you. You go to the Honda service department or the Kia service department. Why can Mercedes offer to do these nicer things? Because they got the money to do it, because they charge higher prices for their products. Now, again, there's a range of what you can spend at a Mercedes dealership. They got lower price stuff, they got higher price stuff, but overall, they charge more money for their stuff. They have more prestige to their brand. Therefore, they have the margin with which they can do nicer things for their customers. So those of you who don't understand the concept of margin, margin is simply how much money is left over after the expenses that it takes for you to give your customers whatever you give them. So, for example, if you are, let's take a company like, what's a good example there? Let's take a company like Nike. All right. So Nike sells you a pair of LeBron sneakers. You got it. The margin is how much the LeBron sneakers cost minus how much it costs to actually manufacture the LeBron sneakers, how much they got to pay the people who do the manufacturing, the kids in China who are making the sneakers, then how much it costs to package them up, ship them over to the USA, put them in the store, how much money they got to give to Foot Locker who sold the sneakers, how much they got to give to taxes, how much they got to give to freight, everything else, how much money is left over after the sale of the shoes. So the shoes might cost $250. Then you factor in all the stuff they have to spend in order to get those shoes on your feet. It might cost them, let's say, $60 to get the shoes on your feet. So you take the 60 away from the 250, the margin on a pair of LeBron sneakers is $190. So because they make $190 every time they sell a pair of shoes, that's the margin. So think of a company like Mercedes. How much margin do they make every time they sell a car? Now, a car costs a lot much more money to make than a pair of sneakers. So you get what I'm saying? That margin makes a big difference. So we can all agree, again, there are every company has a bunch of different cars. Mercedes sells a bunch of cars. Kia sells a bunch of cars. But the margin on the average Mercedes sale is bigger than the margin on the average Kia sale. Therefore, Mercedes has more space with which they can play around, and they can give much better service. They can pay for auto rides. They can pay for a nicer service department. They can hire nicer people. They can train people to be nicer. They have a nicer showroom. They got a nicer everything simply because they have the money to afford it. This is one reason why you need to be charging more money for the stuff that you sell, so that you have the margin to do nicer stuff for your customers and clients. So you give them a better experience. Therefore, they want to go tell their friends and their family about the experience that they have, which helps you get even more customers because of the stories that are being told by word of mouth. Everybody follow what I just said there? What I just did was maybe plant the seed in the mind for some of you. The next time you want to get a vehicle, you might go consider Mercedes. And they're not paying me to do it. I'm just telling you the story because it was a great experience, and I liked the experience so much that it made me think, how could someone who's not selling cars benefit from understanding how this works? It got me to thinking about it, and that's why I'm talking about it right now. But if your margins are too small, meaning let's say a company like, I don't know, any of you have been to Payless shoe store, how much money are they making on every sale? How much margin is there on every sale? Whereas Nike is making $100+ on every transaction. A shoe that's sold at Payless, might only make $10 on every transaction. Margin, meaning after all their costs, how much money is left over, maybe might be $10. Well, what can they do for people on $10? What can you do for somebody with $10? Not much, right? I mean, you still got to put some money in your own pocket, right? How much you willing to spend? See, this is the whole thing. So you look at that company, a company like a Mercedes, or name any high-end company. Think about high-end companies when it comes to fashion, like Louis Vuitton or Givenchy or Burberry or Tom Ford. You think of these companies, or Louboutin. You think of these companies, they have a large margin between how much it costs for them to make their products and how much they sell them for. That means every time they make a transaction, they are making more money. So a company could do more transactions than you, but you can make more money than them simply because the margin between what you sell and the margin between everything they sell, your margin is way bigger. So look at a company like Walmart. Because I'm not knocking, it's not necessarily a bad business model to have low price things, but you have to do your math. You got to do the math. A company like Walmart they sell low price stuff, right? That's their whole thing, everyday low prices. So anything you could buy in Walmart, you're probably not going to find a lower price anywhere else on the planet. Not even on Amazon for the stuff that you buy at Walmart. Walmart got the cheapest stuff of everything. Here's the issue that comes into that, or the challenge, let's put it that way. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Walmart got a lot of customers, right? And Walmart is a billion-dollar company. Walmart needs to do a whole lot of transactions with a little tiny margin every time they do a transaction in order to make money. They got to do a lot of transactions with a small margin in order to make money. Whereas a company like, who's a company that sells high-end stuff? Let's take a company like Louis Vuitton. They don't have to do nearly as many transactions as Walmart to make the same amount of money, or at least to take home the same amount of money. If Walmart wants to take home $1,000 in margin, they got to do like 10,000 transactions to make $1,000 because they're only making a little bit of money. They're making like 10 cents on every transaction. Whereas Louis Vuitton, they don't have to do 10,000 transactions to take home $10,000 in margin. They might only have to do like 5 because that bag that you bought from Louis Vuitton that costs $8,000, how much it costs them to actually make that bag? Maybe $600. So they're making a whole bunch of margin off of that one sale, whereas Walmart makes this little tiny margin. So they got to do all these transactions. Now, here's the thing that comes into that. When you are in sales, and all of you should understand this, the less money your customer or client spends, the more of a headache they are possibly going to become. I'm going to take a sip of water while you think about that one. When you're in sales, I don't care what you're selling. You can sell physical products. You can sell services. You can sell something in between. I don't know what else there is. An experience, whatever. The less money your customers spend, the more headache they are. Your best customers are the people who spend the most money. So any of you does not want to deal with customer service issues, don't sell cheap stuff. If you sell cheap things, you will have a whole lot of customer service issues. All right, any of you ever been to a Walmart? All right. Any of you ever been to Walmart? Any of you ever been to a Louis Vuitton or a Tom Ford or a Givenchy or a Gucci store or a Burberry? Let me ask you a question. Which store is more likely there to be a fight between the customers? In a Louis Vuitton store or in Walmart? Because see, you walk into a Louis Vuitton store, you got security with a suit on, right? With the little earpiece in, and it's very nice. And they don't even let everybody come in the store at the same time. There's too many people in the store. They make you stand outside and wait in line to get into the store because they only want to have like 10 customers in there at a time because they know out of those 10 customers, they're going to make some money. And even if you got to wait outside for 30 minutes to get in the store, you will wait because you want to give your money to them. Walmart doesn't do that. Walmart says everybody can come in at the same time. Somebody said they offer champagne in the Christian Dior store, not in Walmart. Exactly. Walmart does have champagne, but it's pretty cheap. You might as well call it apple juice, apple cider, with bubbles. Walmart customer service is not always be long. Exactly, because of what they're charging. See, when you charge low prices for things, you get a whole lot of headaches. And listen, I started, my first product I ever sold was $4.99. I was selling to basketball players. I had way more customer service issues than I was selling $4 products than when I sell $4,000 products. I get way less issues with people who spend more money. That's just how it works. The more money someone invests, the more invested they are in making it work, whatever it happens to be. If somebody spends a little bit of money, they're not invested, which means they will easily flip on you. And now you get a whole issue with this person who didn't even spend that much money. So this is why you as a salesperson, again, you want to do nice stuff for your customers and you want to have the kind of customers who you actually like dealing with and talking to, you need to charge more money. And here's what's going to happen. And here's the paradox for many people to understand. This means fewer people, but you will have better experiences and you will have more margin. Now, here's the challenge to this. Here's the paradox. All right, this is what the part that you got to get. Since you have fewer people that you're selling to, your sales, your transactions will be fewer and further between. So instead of you doing 10 sales a day, which feels good to your ego, is like that dopamine hit, right? You know how you use, like how we use social media? What makes social media so addictive to people is that every 10 seconds you might get another notification. And that dopamine hit matters. That matters. That's why social media is so addictive, because it could be a little thing like, oh, somebody liked your photo or somebody commented on your post. And it could be these random little hits that you get over the course of a day. And that dopamine is a big thing. But what if, and this is the same thing in sales, if you're selling a product that costs $4, well, you could do a whole bunch of transactions in a day because it's only $4. But what if your product costs $4,000? You might go a couple of days with no sales. Now you're not getting that dopamine hit. And what happens to a lot of people is they are so used to that dopamine, they rather rush back and get the $4 just so they can get the feeling of something happening rather than doing the work that it takes, that it might take you 3, 4, 5 days or a couple weeks to get that one sale that's $4,000. How many $4 sales you got to make $4,000? Somebody do the math on that. If you want to make $4,000 and your product costs $4, how many sales you got to make? You got to make 1,000 sales. That's 1,000 different people paid you $4 a piece. Now, let me ask you a question. What's the chances that one of those people becomes a headache over $4? They're emailing you and saying, well, I never got my product, or I can't log into the website, or something's wrong, or I want a refund, or I want my money back, or what about this? Or I thought I was going to get this too. If you have 1,000 different customers, there's a chance that one of them is just going to be an idiot and you got to deal with them because they gave you their money. So they technically do have a right to make a claim. If you got one customer who paid you $4,000, guess what? Not only are you not dividing your attention amongst 1,000 people, you only have to give your attention to one person. So you could give them everything that you got, give them all your best attention, and you don't have to worry about them becoming a headache because you're giving them your attention all the time. As long as you are relatively competent, if you're giving all of your attention to one person, they're pretty much going to be happy. Assuming that you got them to give you $4,000 in the first place. I'm just using these numbers as basic placeholders just so y'all understand. If you're giving them your attention, your complete attention, or at least a good amount of your attention, there's a pretty good chance they're going to be satisfied and happy. And you only got to make one sale, there's your $4,000. Or do you want to make 1,000 sales to a bunch of $4 people? Again, do you want to be Walmart or do you want to be Louis Vuitton? It's up to you. And most people who are listening to me right now would say, well, I want to be Louis Vuitton, Joe. I want to be Louis Vuitton. Okay, well, let's look at your price chart. Let's look at the things that you sell and how much you're charging for them. If you want to be Louis Vuitton, let's see. All right, how much are you charging for your products and your services if you want to be Louis Vuitton? So are you closer to Louis Vuitton or are you closer to Walmart? See, people say they want to be Louis Vuitton, but then you look at what they do, they're acting like Walmart. But I'm helping you understand here, this is how it works. And again, there ain't nothing wrong with being Walmart. Walmart makes a lot of money. It's just a matter of, do you want to deal with that? There's a business model that comes with this. So if you want to do it, go ahead, do it. But understand, you got to be willing, you got to be ready to deal with what you're attracting. All right? That's what you're attracting when you do that. Amazon, same thing. Amazon got a whole system for returns. All right, you can order something from Amazon, tell them that you didn't get it, whatever, they'll replace it, they give you money back. They got a whole system for it. But Amazon also has like 5,000 robots and thousands of employees who are outsourced overseas. You ever get on a phone call with somebody from Amazon? All right, they're not from New Jersey. Are you talking to somebody in Bangladesh? And all they're doing is reading off a script. Nothing wrong with that. Again, it's just a matter of, do you want to put that kind of business model in place to deal with your customers? Because if you don't have somebody in Bangladesh answering that phone, guess who's answering the phone? You are. You got to deal with those people. And you have their money technically, so they do have a right to have a problem if they want to have a problem. It's not a matter of them being wrong. It's a matter of you attracted these people in the first place. So now you got to deal with them because this is how you decided to set your business up. This is not a problem with your customers, a problem of, because these people exist. All right, there are all different types of people in the world. There are $4 people out there. There are $4,000 people out there. There are $40,000 people out there. The thing is, the $4 person is the easiest one to attract. This is why many people's business model is based around $4 people. $4,000 person is a little bit harder to attract, but they do exist. And the $40,000 people, there are fewer of them, but they are out there. They do exist. And you would have to do the work in order to be even eligible to be attracting and talking to the $40,000 people. Now, the question is, are you willing to do the work? Are you willing to make the changes? Are you willing to cut off the $4 people to talk to the $40,000 people? And understand that when you're talking to $4 people, again, you got all types of people to talk to. And there's always more people coming in when you're talking to $4 people. When you're talking to $40,000 people, you might only have 2 conversations all month. But you only need to close one of them, and boom, there's your 40 grand. How many $4 sales do you have to make $40,000? You got to make 10,000 sales. That's a lot of sales. You know how many sales that is? 10,000 sales over the course of 30 days. Let's do the math on that. If you want to make 40 grand selling a $4 product, and again, we're just using this as a baseline, that's 333 sales a day. That's a lot of transactions. It feels good, but is it getting you where you want to be? And could you actually do that? 333 sales a day? You got to be running a lot of advertising. So you're actually not making 40 grand because you got to spend a whole bunch just to get the customers in the first place. You get what I'm saying? Everybody get what I'm saying here? So I kind of went into point number 2 at the same time that I'm talking here. People who spend more money are less of a headache than the people who spend less money. If you want to have fewer headaches with your clients and customers, doesn't mean you won't have challenges, but you want to have fewer headaches with your clients and customers, you must charge more money for your stuff. You absolutely have to do this. All right. So any of you who's in a service-based business or a client-based business, you probably already know this. If you dealt with enough customers and clients, you probably already understand this, that your top 25% of your clientele, meaning top 25%, meaning how much money you make from their business, your top 25% give you way fewer headaches than the whole bottom 75% put together. And most people who are in service-based businesses long enough, they come to understand this, and their aim becomes, you know what, I just want to focus on these people in the top 25%, and I'll pass off the bottom 75 to someone else on my team or do something else with them to where I don't have to deal with them as much, not because you don't like them as people, but because, I mean, you're a person too. You would rather just deal with the people who give you fewer headaches and you make more money. You get the best of both worlds. Less headaches, more money. This is the ideal way that anybody would want to set up their business. The challenge for people is this takes work. All right, this is not just, I'm making it sound easy the way I'm talking about it, but this does take actual work. You have to invest in this stuff. You got to invest in making yourself attractive enough to the people who are that top 25% level to where they would actually, they look at you as a possibility to them, let alone will they actually give you money. You have to do the work to make yourself a possibility to these people. And then you got to do the work to make yourself not only a possibility, but someone that they say, you know what, I'm going to do business with you. I'm going to give you my money. I'm going to work with you. I'm going to trust you. I'm going to let you provide me service or whatever it is that you're offering, whatever you're selling. Look at a company like Disney. Any of you been to Disney World lately? Disney World or Disneyland lately? All right, Disney is not cheap. Disney's not cheap. And especially if you go to Disney with kids, Disney ain't cheap. All right, their whole business model is set around extracting money from you. All right, not in a negative way, but that's their business model. Disney is, you know why Disney World is so nice? And anybody here, leave a comment. You've been to Disney World in the last 2 years. I need to go to Disney World. When my son gets old enough to walk, I think we'll take him. I don't know if I'm going to carry him. He got to be old enough to walk. He got to walk. All right, we go to Disney World, and he got to be old enough to kind of understand what's happening. And we don't spend all that money. He got to know what this is. But anyway, Disney World. The reason Disney World, you know why Disney World is so nice? Any of you been to Disney? I'm talking to one. There's one in California. There's one in Orlando. The reason why Disney World is such a nice place is because they charge so much money and they extract so much money from their customers in a positive way. Again, this is not a negative thing. They get so much money out of their customers, they can afford them to have a very nice place. All right, they can afford to have nice things, like we like to say. Do you know that at Disney World, they cut the grass every day? Every day they cut the grass. Every day they paint the fences. So all the fences, anything that's painted at Disney World, every day they paint it. They do painting every day. And the reason they do that And again, people don't even know this. I know this because I know some people who have been on the inside of Disney World and they talk about this stuff. The reason that they do this is because they can afford to do it. And it's part of their business model. And the reason they can afford to do it is because of how much money they get people like me and you to spend when we go to Disney World. Do you know that at Disney World, I forget the exact distance, but it's like, I believe it's 20 feet or 50 feet in distance, that at Disney World, it is a rule of the park that you cannot, as a customer, walk more than 50 feet without having an opportunity to spend money. That's actually part of their business model. There are people who work at Disney that they actually do this and they measure it. That if you're walking through the park, you should not be able to walk 50 feet in any direction, anywhere in the park, without being presented an opportunity to spend money. Doesn't mean you're going to spend money, but you're going to be presented with the opportunity to spend money at least once every 50 feet of space that you can possibly walk in any direction inside Disney. When you get on a ride at Disney World, every time you get off the ride, what do you have to do to get out of the ride situation? You got to walk through a gift shop that is related to the ride that you just got on, which is what? An opportunity to spend money. You can't get out of it. You can't get back outside without walking through the gift shop. Everything you do, you got to walk through a gift shop, because the gift shop is what? A place where you can spend money. And then they got the little carts where there's workers out there whose job is to get you to spend money. Do you know? Here's another thing about Disney World, that the workers who work at the little carts, when you're walking around, there's just a cart out there and they're selling something like a little ball or a pin or hats or anything. Do you know that they actually measure how much sales activity each salesperson does every day? And if you're not doing a good enough job selling the little ball or the hat at the little cart, then they take you off of that job and they put you on a different job and they put somebody else in your spot who can sell better than you can. They actually measure this stuff. That's not random. If you're not selling enough working at the cart, then they take you off the cart. Disney is a business. All right, they are measuring all that stuff. Y'all think Disney is all about Mickey Mouse and happiness and the little fireworks, and no, that's not Disney. Disney's about money. All right, and the reason why it's such a nice place because they make money, because they charge a lot of money. The tickets ain't cheap, the parking's not cheap, the hotels ain't cheap, the food's not cheap, the gifts ain't cheap. Nothing in Disney is cheap. Again, any of you been to Disney in the last year or two? I'm gonna go soon. My son's old enough to walk. We'll go to Disney. But that's business, folks. Y'all got to be thinking about this stuff. All right. When you're in business, your mandate is bringing revenue into your company. Your mandate is making money. And if you want to do great stuff and you want to have great people around you, meaning your customer, I'm not talking about your workers, your customers. You want great customers? Charge more money. All right. They'll spend it. They're used to spending money, but you got to make yourself worthy of their attention. Mattia over there on Facebook was going on. You remember that 2 minute, 2 hour? Yes, that's definitely it's related to this. Absolutely. Timothy was going on Facebook. Anybody got a question about what I'm talking about here? Put it in the comment section. I'm going to take some questions in a minute. So the first thing y'all got to understand is that this begins with, y'all want to know where all this begins? It doesn't begin talking about the dollars and cents. It begins with your mindset. It begins with the mindset. In Work on Your Game University, I have a course called Business Builder, and we have 2 modules in there around money mindset. One around the poor money mindsets that most of us grow up with, because most people don't never, consciously think about their money mindset. They never consciously think about what is their mindset around money. Since most people never think about it, they become average or worse. And then we have another module on healthy money mindsets, the kind of mindsets that people have when they can do what Disney does, and they can do what Mercedes does, and they can understand the things that I'm explaining here in this video. Is you have to be consciously thinking about these things if you want to go to another level. These are things, they don't just happen by default. They don't just happen just because you watching this video, or if I wrote an article about it, or I could even write a whole book about it. They don't just happen just because you consume something. You have to be consciously thinking about these things consistently, and you got to replace the garbage that you were taught with the stuff that actually works. And sometimes the garbage that you were taught was given to you by people who love you, like your teachers at school, your parents, and the people around you. Because again, most people are by definition average. So if you never consciously thought about changing your mindset around anything, then your mindset is probably just like theirs, average. That's just a statistical truth. So if you want to make more money, you want less headaches, you want to deal with higher level people, first thing you got to do is get your mindset right around doing this. And then you got to go into putting the strategies and systems in place that actually make it work for your particular business And you got to be a person who actually reflects what you are asking for from the marketplace. All of these pieces got to be in place. Now, the reflection is not a matter of, it is a matter of opinion, but it's a matter of perception by your ideal target people. Who are you trying to serve, and what are they looking for, and what positions you as the guy or the girl that is actually worthy of whatever you want to charge. Again, look at Disney World. If you've never been to Disney, go to their website. Look at their website. Look at the pictures of Disney. Look at what it looks like inside that place. Look at the pictures of, go to a Mercedes dealership. Even if you don't have a Mercedes, you ain't gotta have a car. Take the bus. Take an Uber. Just go there, walk around the showroom. Look at how they present themselves. Look at the way they talk to you. Look at the cars they have on the showroom floor. Go to a Mercedes, go to a BMW, go to a Range Rover, go to a Porsche dealership. Look at the way they present themselves. Then go to the Kia or the Honda dealership and look at them. And notice the difference. Notice the difference. There's a difference. And I've been in all of them. Notice the difference. There is a difference. And that's a choice that they make. And if you're not consciously making a choice, then you get the default. And the default of life amongst human beings is average. If you want to be something above average, then you got to make a conscious choice about doing something different. Somebody said it got to look like money to make money. In a way, yes, but it's also about who you're trying to serve. And what are they looking for? That's really what it's about. What are they looking for? So what do they want? What do they expect? And this is where your market research comes in. We call this doing your homework. Is your market research of who you're trying to serve, or what do they want? What do they need? Depending on what you're offering is not necessarily about money. It is, but it ain't. Again, Disney doesn't talk about money. They charge you money, but they don't talk about it. It's about what they are offering you, which is a first-class experience, and that's why people are willing to spend money. So it's not always necessarily directly about money. It depends on what you're selling and who you're selling it to. But you have to be worth it. You have to believe you're worth it, and you have to do the work to make yourself worth it. So let's move on. Another point. When it comes to relationships, because this is part of it as well. Because I was talking to someone just like 2 weeks ago, actually 1 week ago, and it was a female, and she was saying that she wanted to level up her relationships, level up her community, level up her connections. And one of the things that she knew she needed to do, and something that I talk about all the time, is going to the kind of events where people are, where she can make the kind of connections that she wants to make. And what she was saying was, well, going to these kind of events costs a certain amount of money, and right now I'm not in a position to go and do it, et cetera, et cetera. But this is it's a salient point that she was making. If you want to level up in relationships, which you should, because when you're around other people who are thinking in this way that I'm explaining, then you are going to start doing things differently because you're consciously thinking about it. Anything you want to be better at in your life, you just got to be consciously thinking about it. And one way to make yourself consciously think about things, because your conscious mind is usually going to go in all different directions based on what's presented to you, is to be around people who are already thinking that way. That way you kind of immerse yourself in that way of thinking, and it starts to happen automatically. Eventually you think about anything consciously long enough, it eventually goes into the subconscious. The subconscious controls 85% of your thinking. So you really want to get into the subconscious, not the conscious, the subconscious. And that's when things start happening for you. But you have to be conscious about it and intentional, and you have to be consistent. You got to be doing all of these things. So what does relationships have to do with this? When you're hanging around other people who are thinking this way, then it automatically starts to get into your conscious, because they're there all the time. They're talking about it all the time. This is just the way that they normally operate. So it's going to rub off on you. It's like osmosis. That's a scientific process. It starts to get into your mind, eventually gets into your subconscious, and eventually you start doing things differently. That's why relationships matter. That's why you go to events. That's why you go to conferences. That's why you go to networking events. That's why you join masterminds, because you get immersed in different ways of thinking of people who are playing the game at a level that you want to play at. All of this stuff goes together. Y'all noticing this? All of this stuff goes together. These are all kind of pieces to the puzzle that you have to put together. And this is why you make the investments in yourself, so you can get around other people who are thinking differently, looking at different things. They have a different way of approaching issues, and they're doing something other than what the average people are doing. Remember, by definition, folks, most people are average. Most people are average. So if you're just hanging around people that you are just around by default, there's a pretty good chance that they're average people. Now, if you're hanging around people that you chose to be around, you consciously picked them, now that's a different thing. Now, hopefully you pick some people who are doing something, they're about something. But the people that you're around by default, like the friends that are in your neighborhood or the people who work at your job or they go to the same school as you or they're your family members, most of them are average. Just by just simple deductive reasoning. Most of them are just average. If you want to be something other than what they are, then you got to do something different. You got to think differently. Questions? You got questions, put in the comment section. Remember that increasing your revenue in business, there are 3 ways to do it. Number 1, get more customers. Number 2, get your customers to spend more money. Number 3, get your customers to spend money more often. 1, 2, 3. 3 ways to make more money in business. I don't care if you're Walmart, Louis Vuitton, Mercedes, Amazon, Nike, Apple, whatever. 3 ways. Number 1, get more customers. Number 1, just more people. Number 2, get those same people to spend more money. Number 3, get people to spend money more often. So instead of buying from you twice a week, they buy from you 3 times a week. That's more money. Or just get them to spend more money. So instead of $10 per transaction, they spend 20. Or just get more people. Instead of 10 people, you get 20 people. So when you can start doing those things or doing a combination of those things, you can make more revenue in your business. And hopefully there's more income. Hopefully you can create more margin. And when you have more margin, you could do nicer things. And a nicer thing that you could possibly do for a customer or a client could simply be just giving them more of your time. I was talking to a woman about almost a month ago, and we had a shorter conversation. I'll answer that question in a second. And we had another conversation after our initial conversation. And she was saying, well, Dre, one of the things I like to do, because she's in a service-based business. So she does like training, coaching, things like that. She was like, one of my problems, Dre, is that I like to give so much to my clients. So I'll give them so much of my time. I give them so much of my energy. I give them my attention. I get on phone calls with them. I'm texting with them and all this stuff. The problem is, Dre, I'm running out of time because I'm giving so much to each client, but I'm not making the kind of money that I want to make. So she needs to do one of these things that I just talked about. Either first of all, she doesn't want to get more customers, because if she gets more customers, she's going to drown, because that's her problem right now. What she needs to do is either raise her prices or get people to spend money more often. And the reason why she wasn't doing it up to that point is because of her mindset around money. These things had never even occurred to her until I started talking to her about it. And hopefully she has crossed the bridge. We start working together. I can help her get this stuff in place, but she got to take the step, and she knows who she is. I don't know if she's watching this video, but she knows who she is. But this is one of the ways that I help people in business. And almost everybody who's in business wants to make more money. Like I said, I don't care if you're making 50 grand, you're making 500,000. Everybody wants to make more money. And if you want to make more money, it starts with the way you think, even though most people don't think that. Then it goes to the actual tactical points, which is more customers, more frequency, more volume. 1, 2, 3. Question is, how do you handle persecution when you operate differently for the new result, or when you start? What do you mean persecution? Give me an example of what you mean by persecution. Who's getting persecuted? I mean, Jesus got persecuted, but what do you mean? So we're talking here today, for those who came in the middle here, about why you should charge more money for your products and services, and why you should pay more money for products and services. I didn't really talk that deep about paying more money, but when it comes to leveling up in relationships, when you go to events, when you go to conferences, when you go to network, if you can, those who are listening, if you can, spend more money on a higher price ticket. Spend more money on a higher level ticket. Don't get the general admission. Get something higher than that. So there's an event I'm going to 3 events like in the next month. So I'm going to be in Orlando, California, and Dallas. And at each event, the Orlando event, I'm speaking, so I didn't have to get a ticket. Then the California event, that's a private event, so you can't really buy a ticket to that. I'm going because I'm in somebody's program, so I guess there's only one level. I guess they didn't offer me another level. And then at the Dallas one, I bought the VIP ticket. There was 2 tickets. There was general and there was VIP. I bought the VIP. So when you go to events, if you can afford it, and you can afford it, if you're going to an event, you can find the money. Buy the higher level ticket. Why? Because the people who are in the higher level seats, those are the kind of people that you want to be hanging around. Those are people you want to meet. Don't buy the cheapest ticket that they got. I went to an event last month in Vegas, and I was going to buy the cheapest ticket they had. That was my first thought. I was going to buy the cheapest ticket. But then when I went to buy the ticket, all the cheapest tickets were sold out, but they still had the higher price tickets. So I bought a higher price ticket, and I'm very glad that I did, because I met people sitting in the higher priced seats that I wouldn't have met had I bought the cheaper one. And next year, I'm going to buy the one that costs even more than that one. Why? Because I want to meet the people who spend that kind of money. I'm going to be one of them, but I want to meet the other people who spend that kind of money. And that matters. When it comes to leveling up in relationships, all right, this is the kind of stuff that they don't teach you in school. Your school teachers don't do this. They ain't buying tickets to conferences. All right, they're going to work. All right, this is the kind of stuff they don't teach you at college. They don't teach you this in high school. This is the kind of game that I'm giving you right now. So question is the backlash. Like when people give you a hard time for higher prices, or when you start with low prices and made the change to have higher prices, that's actually good. The people who give you backlash, those aren't your customers. All right, those are the Walmart customers. Again, you're trying to sell at Louis Vuitton prices to Walmart customers. Of course, you're gonna get backlash. You're talking to the wrong people. So that's how you deal with it. How you deal with it is saying thank you, because now you have identified yourself as the wrong type of person. Let me make sure that I don't attract anybody else like you. Let me go find the people who actually will spend more money. Again, if a Walmart customer walks into a Louis Vuitton store, they're gonna be like, every time, everything they see, they're gonna be like, what? It costs how much? That bag costs how much? That t-shirt costs how much? Right? They're the wrong customer. And that's why you don't see Walmart customers in Louis Vuitton, and you don't see Louis Vuitton customers in Walmart. Notice that? Notice people who buy Louis Vuitton don't shop at Walmart, and people who shop at Walmart don't buy Louis Vuitton. They're different customers. There's something for everything, folks. Yeah, so they get exposed, right? There's something for everything out here. That's why you got Walmart that makes a lot of money. Okay, I'm not knocking Walmart. Now, Walmart makes a lot of money. They've been around for a long time for a reason. There's a customer for them. But there's also a customer for Louis Vuitton. Like here in Miami, they got this area called the Design District. I want to look up their website because I sometimes forget the names of all the shops that they have there. In the Design District in Miami, they got all the high-end stores. So y'all name any high-end shop. They got them all in the Design District in Miami. I forget the names of all these places because I don't go there all the time, but I know what they got there. I just ran through there this morning. So they got Givenchy, Christian Dior. They got, let's see if I can find the list of the stores that they got on here, just so y'all know what I'm talking about. But they got everything. Anything that is high end, they got it. So they got Louis Vuitton, men's store. What else they got? They got Chanel, Glossier. I don't even know what that is. I don't even know the names of all these stores that they got. They got Alexander McQueen. What is this? Alexander McQueen, Amiri. I don't even know how to pronounce some of these. Baccarat, Bottega Veneta, Burberry, Bulgari, Cartier, Celine, Chanel, Dior, Fendi. They got everything. All right. And the people who shop here ain't going to Walmart when they get out of there. All right. They're not going to Walmart to get their groceries. All right. So you just got to decide who you want to sell to. Yes, they get exposed. And it's also, just to keep it real, a Shadow Twerk Tarot is also exposing you because you talking to them. All right, they're your people. They talking to you, so that's also telling you something about yourself. How do you get to know these people in the first place? All right, why do they even know you to be talking to you in the first place? All right, so that's something you should be thinking about. All right, how do these people even know who you are? Ganni, Givenchy, Gucci, Harry Winston, Hermes, Hublot. What else we got? I'm just looking at the ones that I know. Louis Vuitton men's. I didn't know it was two different stores. They got two different stores, one for men, one not for men. They got a show called Luxury Living Showroom. I didn't know that was a thing. Maison Francis, Maison Margiela. I'm just looking. Off-White. I heard of them before. Prada, Pucci. Pucci is different from Gucci. Rick Owens, Saint Laurent, YSL, that is. Salvatore Ferragamo, Stone Island. They got a Tesla. They sell cars there too. Tiffany, Tom Ford, Valentino. Y'all get the point. All right, so always got to self-reflect. Absolutely. So the whole point here is, here's the bigger point. In Work on Your Game University, I help people with this. I help you understand this. So what I just explained to you all, if that makes sense to you, and this is something that you want to do in your business, you want to take your business to the next level. And usually when people say taking their business to the next level, what they mean is making more money. If you want to do this, it doesn't matter what level you're at right now. I mean, we can take steps. All right? Everybody doesn't go straight from Walmart to Louis Vuitton, but you can go from Walmart to Whole Foods. All right, you can move up, and we can do this. Just go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. We got like 37 plus courses in there, a bunch of exclusive trainings. So if you like the way that I break down and explain things like this, I have a bunch of exclusive trainings and courses inside the university. If you want to be coached directly by me, we have an option for that as well. And this is how we help take people to the next level. I work with people from all different backgrounds. We have people who are in the project management space, people who work in financial services, to people who are coaches, people who kind of do similar to what I do. So they are maybe in the social media space and building their brands, to people who are, where they have storefronts, where they have an actual business that you can walk in and buy stuff, selling like things like clothes. Again, people who are financial advisors, so many different types of people that I work with over the years, simply because the frameworks and the strategies and the systems that I help people implement is industry agnostic. It doesn't matter what industry you're working in, because the way that I break things down systematically and strategically, it doesn't matter where you work, they can apply to anything that you do. And I have the ability to explain it. That's my secret sauce, just in case anybody wanted to know. My secret sauce is I had the ability to explain and break these things down. And that's why I do things like this live. It's the reason why I write books like what you see behind me. It's the reason why I have a podcast that comes out every day, where I don't need guests on my show, because I can explain things myself. And that's what I do. And today I'm actually going to be recording with, I don't think she's on here. I'm going to be recording with Kelly Tyan. She has a podcast called Addicted to the Climb, moving up, leveling up. And also, it's 2 shows I'm going to record today. So Addicted to the Climb with Kelly, and then The Modern Manager with Mamie Canfer Stewart. I don't know if any of you know about either of those shows, but they'll be out in they'll probably be out in a couple weeks. I don't know when these people drop their episodes, but I'll be recording with both of them today. I'll probably post it when we get on the Zoom calls. All right, anybody else got a question? Go ahead and put it in the comment section. I'll address a question or two if there's any others. Then we'll wrap up. Joe McKinney, what's going on? Which book you about to get? I got more than one. If you tell me what you're working on, I'll tell you which book you should get. Because I got a bunch of different books. So I can tell you where to get started based on what your current focus is. But Work on Your Game University, that's where we're sending everybody these days. I used to send people to like a bunch of different places with different things, but we're focusing on one thing right now, which is workonyourgameuniversity.com. That's where you get access to all the trainings, all the stuff. Business and basketball, and I would get that book right there called Work on Your Game. You get that at workonyourgamebook.com. I would start there. Work on Your Game book, or if you want to get a bunch of books, then just go to thirddaybook.com, and Work on Your Game book will be part of the Mental Game Super Duper bundle. So it depends on what direction you're trying to go. You're trying to get one book, or you want to get 10. If you want to get 10 books, then go to thirddaybook.com, and then just say yes to everything we offer you. And you will literally have 10 books. You'll get the Third Day Work on Your Game System Manual, which is that one right there. You'll get Mirror of Motivation, which you can't see, but it is right here. And the Bulletproof Bundle, which includes this book right here called The Super You. The Mental Handbook and 100 Mental Game Best Practices are back there. Then say yes, you'll get 30 Days of Discipline, Mental Workbook, Bulletproof Mindset, and Work on Your Game. So that is literally 10 books. So it depends on what direction you're trying to go. You want one book, you want 10. You want one, go to Work on Your Game. You want 10, go to thirddaybook.com. Just say yes to everything, and we got you. So you're working in the solar space right now in terms of business. Then after all of that, then go to workonyourgameuniversity.com and get on a call with me, get into the courses, get into the university. We're sending everybody to Work on Your Game University. That's the university I'm trying to enroll people in. So you don't need to go to college and pay, how much is college these days? $200,000, and then the loans you got to pay back and the interest and all that. Forget all of that. Come to Work on Your Game University. Get a real life education on things that you can really apply in your real life right now, and you know exactly how it's going to work, because I'm going to tell you exactly how to use this stuff in the real things you're doing today. Not you get a bunch of information, and then you got to figure out, all right, how do I actually use this after you get out of your university? You go to college, you graduate, you still got to figure out what to do next. What do I do with this stuff? Whereas you come to Work on Your Game University, I will tell you where to apply it, when to apply it, how to apply it, and why to apply it. I will tell you directly myself. So again, in college, the teachers, all they get paid to do is just give you the information and give you the tests. Here, I will actually tell you what to do with this stuff and where to use it in your real life, in your real situation. You can't get that at a college or a university. It's not even that college or university is bad. I went to college. If I had a chance, I would go again. I went to college. One of the reasons I wanted to play ball, and also for the social experience. I would do that again. But if something like Work on Your Game University existed, I would have grabbed some money. I would have joined the university and been in college at the same time. Would have did both. because nothing that I learned in college do I use in business to this day. I'm an entrepreneur. I don't use anything I learned in college in my business today. Not zero, nothing. But I still would have went to college. I would have took the experience, the partying, the girls, the basketball. I would have did all that again. The classes, I would have did the classes just so I could be eligible to play sports, just to keep it real with y'all. All right, with all that said, you dropped out. All right, so there you go. All right, so there you go. I ain't even got to say nothing else. Joe McKinnon just told you. All right, everybody, so we're going to wrap this up. We've been going for an hour. I'll be doing more lives more consistently, as long as I ain't got other calls. Sometimes I got other calls, so I don't have space to do a live. But if you want to learn from me, you like this, you want to get more of this, go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. That's the link in my bio on Instagram. And y'all see where I'm at. I'm active on social media. I'm the easiest guy to find on the internet. So any of you got a question or want to reach out to me or got anything that you want to share with me or asking me, let me give my text number as well. I'll put that in here. That's the last thing I'll put, and then we'll let this go. My daily motivation text I send out free every morning. You can text me at that number, 305-384-6894. That is me replying to your text. So if you ever text me and get a response, that is me responding to you. Facebook, y'all know how to use Facebook. Instagram, y'all know how to use this. What else? Y'all know how to use the internet. I ain't got to tell y'all. I'm the easiest guy to find on the internet. All right. So nobody has to look for me on the internet. I'm easy to find. I'm easy to reach. I am accessible. And you join the university, you want to work with me directly. If you like this, what I just did for the last hour, all right, imagine what it's like when you come into the paid stuff. I told y'all my free stuff is better than most people's paid stuff. I just gave y'all this for free for an hour. And I'm going to put this up on replay. So any of you want to rewatch it or you only caught half of it, I'm going to put this up. It'll be on IG. It will be on Facebook. I'm going to put the video on YouTube too. So like I told y'all, all right, if this is what I give you for free, imagine what it's like when it's paid. All right, this is what I do. Y'all see it. I don't even know why I'm still talking. So that's what it is. Workonyourgameuniversity.com. Appreciate everybody's time. Y'all have a great afternoon. Work on your game. We out of here.